still have a tumor in my neck. It's been there over 10 years. It's borderline inoperable. Nobody wants to take it out. Living with cancer was a very hard adjustment mentally. But at that moment, I had just decisively beaten cancer for the 4th time. The cancer that was in the back of my head was taken out, and I was given an all clear. That was something I had never heard before. From the moment I was diagnosed with cancer for the first time, I wanted to pick a fight. And so I needed to know, how does this end? That's not it. I didn't like the answer. There's only one way it ends, and I don't want it to go that way. So you accept that once cancer is part of your life, it's always part of your life. But you could pretend that it's not weighing on you, but it's there. And so even though I had just decisively gotten this all clear, I hadn't realized what I had been through. Now, I was 2 years sober at this point. My alcohol journey, it was almost like a slow start with a quick ramp up. I'm fortunate. I was only out there for a number of years. You know, I could have been out there for decades. My dad's got 4 decades of sobriety. I had a great role model. When I hit my bottom, I knew where to go. But at this point, I had sort of just cleared that first threshold of sobriety. I had really just kind of cleared away the wreckage of the past. And now I was left with this blank slate in front of me. But I was still living in this bubble where I was convinced I couldn't run because of diabetes. I couldn't get up and live my life because of sleep apnea. You know, I was always going to be under the weight of cancer. I was always going to be an addict, like all these things that I just created for myself that were preventing me from living my life.
Yeah.
And so I said yes to the race because I needed something different.
Yeah.
Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to give you the quick version of this, but the next 6 months of my life were completely transformative because when I ran that race that day, let me ask you something. I think we talked about this on the phone, so you're probably going to give the answer that I don't want. But when was the last time you went outside and played when you weren't afraid of getting your pants dirty?
Wow.
Okay, that's the answer I
Probably,
was expecting
yeah.
from most people. Most of us forgot how to do that. Well, I was out there in the world, running through mud, climbing over objects, carrying heavy things under barbed wire, right? Getting muddy, dirty, gritty, bloody. And I'll tell you what, it was liberating. It wasn't resentful anymore. It wasn't me against the world. It was me in the world. And all of a sudden, everything that I had ever believed about myself was bullshit. I wasn't stuck in a bubble. And so if I was wrong about that, what else could I be wrong about? And so I attacked this for the next 6, 7 months. I wanted this. And to do this, it wasn't just about training. If I wanted to get better, I needed better nutrition. I needed better sleep. I needed better habits. I started meditating so that I could increase my mental toughness. And throughout that process, my mind, body, and spirit were all moving together. And I was becoming a better person. I was liking the person in the mirror. And I could see that in the reflection of other people, the way that they were treating me. But that's when it hit me. The second car accident I was in. I'm coming home from training and I'm hit from behind by a car going full speed while I'm sitting at a red light.
What?
I got several more herniated discs. I got nerve damage that was undiagnosed for several months. I had no idea why I was getting so much pain.
Right.
My Jeep never rode the same. That night, my cat of 12 years died. 10 days later, the lady who hit me died. And even though all I was doing was sitting at a red light, the last thing that happened to her was me, and I couldn't help but feel responsible. And so everything that I had just, the person, all of it just felt like it was a lie. It felt like none of it was real. And I found myself back on the couch, only this time I wasn't comfortable. I was clinging to it for dear life. And I just wanted to give up. But I don't know what that means. In fact, most of us don't, because we keep going to work. So you take showers, you buy food, you keep living, you keep moving. And so I put another date on the calendar, another race on the calendar. And I was training for it, but I was just flat. You know, I was so hurt. Like,
So, yeah. So let me just go back a little bit. So when all this happened, and you said like you were on, you were on the settee. I mean, how did that really make you feel?
you said when I was on the what? Huh?
When you said you were literally sitting on the settee. You said after this had happened, you had your accident, and then you were sitting thinking about everything, and you said that it was a lie. Everything you just gone was a lie. How did that actually make you feel?
That when I finished the race and I realized that I had the world in front of me?
No, This was like after you'd had the car accident and so on. You said the lady.
That's what I'm about to give you, that moment right there, because this is the defining moment.
Okay.
It was when I was training in flat and when I started having to have this conversation with myself, because you asked me how I overcame my adversity, and what I'm going to tell you right now is going to shock you. I realized I hadn't, because I threw a temper tantrum while I was outside trying to train. And it occurred to me that I had been a victim my entire life, and I was still playing a victim. The victim mindset was what was holding me back. I hadn't overcome any of my adversity. I had only survived it. And that's what I realized in that moment, that I was still playing the victim. No, make it stop. Me against the world is the rally cry of the victim mindset. I didn't want to be a victim anymore. And in that moment, I decided, and this is how I overcame my adversity, I will not be defined by my circumstances, but rather my triumph over it. I will not be a victim. I will go to war. And I made that declaration. And how do I overcome it? I pick fights. That's why I climb mountains, because I will not be the victim to diabetes. Diabetes is going to have to keep up with me. So that was I had to decide to overcome my adversity. And the first thing I had to do was realize that just because you're alive doesn't make you a survivor. You have to do something with what we went through. We have to determine that I will not be victimized by this anymore. I was a victim. There's nothing wrong with having been victimized.
Yeah.
But I get to decide how I move on going forward.